Sandra Dickson, founder of Stop City of Cape Town, joins us now to talk about this. A very good evening to you, Sandra. Thank you so much for speaking to us. You say this protest action today is a watershed moment for the people of Cape Town. Why do you say that?
I'm saying that because it's the first time that Cape Townians came together in such large numbers. We had 23 different groupings there, which included political parties as well as other groupings like women organizations, Sanko, COSATU, the ANC, Good. We've been presented really well. And the fact that we could get so many people together just underlines the fact and the unhappiness about the city's unmovable stance to stick to the 17.6% tariff increase and basically flouting NERSA and putting the city's council's decisions higher than the national energy regulators' decisions.
And that's what I want to understand. What is the city saying to justify this? What does its electricity tariff setting policy say on this deviation?
The tariff policy, as far as the city goes, is I've got a graphic which I received this evening from them, where the city claims that 70% of their costs are directly attributable to Eskom, and that attracts the 18.6% that all municipalities receive from Eskom. However, the city omits to say that out of that 70%, 10% of that they transfer that to the rates department, which has got nothing to do with electricity. And that portion, they also increased by the 17.6%. Then there's the 30%, which includes salaries and overheads. And the city now says they've got kilometers and kilometers of lines and stuff that they need to fix. However, that attracts about the inflation rate type of an increase, which is around about 7%, because there's no ways that one would believe that the salary people in the electricity department would get an 18.6% increase on their salaries. So therefore what NERSA did is they averaged the 18.6% for 70% of their costs, with the 30% that attracts the 7% of the 7% which is your inflation-related tariff. And if you average that, you end up with 15.1%, which was a perfect calculation by NERSA.
So how do they justify ignoring the national policy? Because NERSA, and this was part of the arguments that were ongoing until NERSA actually settled on a decision on what to award Eskom and the tariff increases that it sought. How does the city explain this? Why they believe they can lump this on residents of Cape Town, despite what the NERSA regulations say?
Well, in the city, when NERSA came out with a 15.1%, the city immediately took NERSA to court, to the High Court in Pretoria, an urgent application to overturn that 15.1%. However, the court decided that it was not an urgent case and they struck it from the roll. But in the arguments in that court case, the city says that basically they are selling less electricity and they have to claw that back from the citizens. And NERSA said, but that is not the right thing to do. How can you claw back if you sell less electricity because of load shedding? And quite incidentally, we don't quite believe that that is the case, because none, as far as we've researched, we cannot find anybody's bill that actually decreased because of load shedding. It just does not happen. The bills stay the same. Where the city or any other municipality lose revenue is with the people and the big businesses that put solar on their roofs big time. But it's totally unfair, again, to recoup that money from the public. The people that least can afford, it's the people that cannot afford to put a solar panel on their roof, and they get charged fixed levies. There's a fixed levy that they charge us, which has gone up also by 18.6%. So that increased from 185 rands to 252 rands. And I'd like to see the justification how that could increase by so much more than what the inflation rate is.
And you say the city says it'll lose something in the region of 500 million rand if it reverts back to the NERSA set tariff rate. But you say that they ignore the fact that there is a 4.5 provisional surplus that was reported July 2023, that financial monitoring report of 2022 and 2023 as well.
Yes, that is the provisional surplus, which will go into their annual statements. It will maybe increase by a little bit or decrease by a little bit. But yes, in the past financial year, the city ramped up a surplus of 4.5 billion, and only that enough should tell us that they are overinflating our tariffs. Now, there's a second issue about the tariffs, is the 10% that they transfer to rates. That never went through public participation, and that is 37 cents, which is in the city's tariff book. It's there as an unregulated portion that they add to the tariff, and that is also not approved by NERSA. But the city says no, their council can approve this because, again, what I said earlier, the city views their council as a higher authority than the national energy regulator, and again I say that can't be right.
So before you go, I'd like you to please expand a little bit more on your other demands and complaints. You say linking fixed charges and tariff blocks to property values are a discriminatory practice. How has the city been doing this, and what are you asking them to do?
Well, by popular or not popular, but by consensus amongst our group, the people do not want these tariff blocks. Now, how the city does it at the moment, and the other municipalities also do it, so, and Eskom does it, so it's not, there's in essence nothing wrong with that. However, the city has got 2 tariff blocks, which is other than the lifeline, which they boast about, that is lower than the rest of the country. However, the lifeline is, the city is charging R2.11, and NERSA had set it at R1.95. So yet again, the city is boasting about being so-called the cheapest, but again, they flouted NERSA. Now, to get back to your question about, those blocks. So what the city does, if you have a property and prepaid electricity over R1 million worth, your property value is more than R1 million, they charge you this home user charge, which is a fixed amount of the 252 rands. If you have a credit meter and your property is between 500,000 and R1 million, you do not pay this. So I must just correct myself. If you prepaid, if you have a credit meter, you pay this fixed levy. But if you have a prepaid meter between 500 and R1 million, then you don't pay this levy. And the city also linked property when they penalize people that fall into arrears. And that, for instance, if your property is worth under 500,000, and you get into arrears and you fail to make a payment arrangement with the city, or you default on it, on your payment arrangement, they start at taking 30% off your prepaid purchases, and that goes up to 90%. If your property is between 500 and a million, they take 70%, and again, it can go up to 90%. And we have a huge problem because people, pensioners come, they cry because they get 1 unit for 10 rands. Because the city takes 7 rands towards the arrears, and you get 1 unit for this 3.50 rand. It is just, to me, I cannot understand how the city officials can sleep at night if there's people out there that suffer because of their decisions.
Well, thank you so much for speaking to us, Sandra Dickson, founder of Stop City of Cape Town.